First Contact. Commander Emily West stood at the bridge of the UES Prometheus, her hands gripping the command rail until their knuckles turned white. On the main screen, Earth's first diplomatic vessel, the Peace Envoy, drifted through space. The small ship carried Earth's best diplomats to meet with the Galactic Council. It was supposed to be humanity's big moment, their first official contact with alien civilization. "Life support failing on the Peace Envoy," shouted David Martinez from his tactical station. "They're losing power fast." Emily's heart raced as three sleek purple-hulled alien ships surrounded the diplomatic vessel. The Zachary warships had appeared out of nowhere, their weapons already charged. No one had expected them to react with such hostility to a peaceful mission. "Get me a channel to those ships," Emily ordered, trying to keep her voice steady. The crew around her worked quickly, their fingers flying over control panels. Annie Parker, the communications officer, shook her head. "They're blocking all our signals, Commander. They won't even listen." The Prometheus hung back, hidden behind Earth's moon. They weren't supposed to be here. The massive battleship was Earth's secret weapon, built from technology reverse-engineered from a crashed alien ship found in the Arctic 30 years ago. Only a handful of people knew it existed. The main screen suddenly flashed bright purple. Emily watched in horror as the Zachary ships opened fire on the Peace Envoy. The diplomatic vessel, with its 40 crew members, never stood a chance. They just murdered our diplomats," Lisa Cooper whispered from her science station. The bridge fell silent, everyone staring at the debris floating where the Peace Envoy had been moments before. A transmission cut through their communication system. A tall, purple-skinned alien appeared on screen, its 4 eyes blinking in sequence as it spoke in perfect English. "Primitive species of Earth," the alien announced, "I am High Commander Vex of the Zachary Empire. Your attempt to join the Galactic Council is denied. Your technology level is insufficient. Your species will now be classified as a protectorate of the Empire. Resist, and we will demonstrate true power." The revelation of the Zachary's true nature sent shockwaves through the crew. Humanity had spent decades preparing for first contact, hoping to join a peaceful galactic community. Instead, they found themselves facing an empire that saw them as nothing more than primitives to be conquered. Commander Hayes called from engineering, "The quantum drive is ready. We can engage at your command." Emily took a deep breath. The Prometheus was humanity's greatest achievement, a battleship that combined Earth's innovation with advanced alien technology. They'd kept it hidden, hoping they wouldn't need it. Now she realized they'd been right to prepare for the worst. "All hands to battle stations," she ordered. Warning lights flashed throughout the massive ship as crew members rushed to their positions. "Bring the quantum shields online. Power up all weapon systems." The Prometheus hummed to life around them. On the main screen, more Zachary ships appeared, forming a blockade around Earth. They clearly expected humanity to submit without a fight. "They're scanning the planet," Lisa reported. "Looking for military installations, probably." Emily stood straight, her decision made. "They think we're primitive. They think we're weak. They just murdered 40 of our people to prove their superiority." She looked at each of her bridge crew in turn. "Let's show them how wrong they are." "Quantum shields at full power," Robert reported from engineering. "Weapon systems charged. That alien tech we reverse-engineered? It's better than anything they're showing on their ships. We've improved it. Take us out," Emily commanded. "Nice and slow. Let them see us coming." The Prometheus emerged from behind the moon, its massive hull gleaming in the sunlight. At over 2 miles long, it dwarfed the Zachary vessels. The alien ships immediately turned their scanners toward them, probably confused by readings they couldn't understand. "They're hailing us," Annie announced. Emily smiled grimly. "Show them our response." The Prometheus's main weapon, a quantum lance that could tear through space itself, began to charge. The Zachary ship scattered, suddenly realizing they weren't dealing with a primitive species after all. Humanity tried to come in peace, Emily said quietly. They chose war instead. Let's show them exactly what they've started. As the Prometheus moved to engage the alien fleet, Emily West knew that this moment would change everything. Humanity's first contact with alien life had gone horribly wrong, but they weren't helpless. They weren't primitive. They were humanity, and they were ready to fight. In the engine room, Chief Engineer Robert Hayes wiped sweat from his forehead as he worked. The quantum drive hummed around him, its blue light filling the massive chamber. Above, the sound of weapons fire reminded him that they were in the middle of a battle. Status report, Commander West's voice came through his communit. The quantum drive is holding steady, Robert replied, checking the readings on his tablet. But we've never pushed it this hard before. We're learning as we go. Around him, his engineering team worked quickly, making adjustments to the alien technology they'd spent years studying. The crashed ship they'd found in the Arctic had been a treasure trove of advanced science, but understanding it had taken decades. Lisa Cooper rushed into the engine room, her science officer uniform slightly wrinkled from running through the ship. Robert, I need to show you something. She held up her own tablet, displaying complex energy readings. Kind of busy here, Lisa, Robert said, but he looked at her screen anyway. His eyes widened. Wait, is this right? The Zachary ships, Lisa said excitedly. I've been analyzing their technology. The alien ship we found, it must have been ancient. The technology we copied from it is far more advanced than what the Zachary are using now. The implications hit Robert like a thunderbolt. The Prometheus wasn't just Earth's secret weapon, it was possibly the most advanced warship in this sector of space. They'd spent 30 years studying and improving upon technology that the Zachary Empire might have long forgotten. Commander, Robert called through his communit. You need to hear this. The Zachary, their ships are using older tech than ours. The Prometheus isn't just a match for them. We're superior. On the bridge, Emily processed this information as she watched the Zachary fleet regroup. Their initial surprise was wearing off, replaced by what she imagined was anger at humanity's defiance. But now she knew something they didn't, the Prometheus wasn't just humanity's best hope. It was their ace in the hole. Target the flagship, she ordered. Let's show High Commander Vex exactly what Earth's primitive technology can do. The quantum lance powered up, its energy signature unlike anything the Zachary had ever encountered. As the weapon prepared to fire, Emily thought about the 40 diplomats who had died trying to make peace. Their sacrifice wouldn't be in vain. Humanity would survive this first contact, and they would do more than that, they would show the galaxy that Earth wasn't to be underestimated. The battle that followed would be remembered for centuries as the moment humanity announced its presence to the galaxy, not with words of peace, but with a demonstration of power that would shake the foundations of the Zachary Empire. Ripples of war. The quantum lance's beam cut through space like a blade of pure energy, striking the Zachary flagship with devastating precision. High Commander Vex's final transmission was cut short as his ship split in two, secondary explosions rippling along its hull. The remaining Zachary vessels broke formation, their previous confidence shattered by the display of power they never expected from Earth. Dr. Sarah Chen, lead scientist of the Arctic Recovery Project, watched the battle footage in her underground laboratory beneath the Greenland ice sheet. Her hands trembled as she rewound the recording for the dozenth time. The Prometheus, her life's work, had just changed the course of human history. It's beautiful, isn't it? Dr. James Morrison, her longtime colleague, stood in the doorway of her lab. 30 years of research, all leading to this moment. Sarah nodded, but her expression remained troubled. We always knew the ship we found wasn't Zachary. The design, the energy signatures, everything was different. But now we know why. She pulled up a holographic display showing comparative analyses. The technology we recovered. James, I think it belonged to whoever came before them. Before the Zachary Empire? James moved closer to study the data. You mean there was an even more advanced civilization? Was. Past tense. Sarah highlighted several key points in her analysis. The ship we found had been there for thousands of years. The Zachary, they're not the advanced civilization we thought they were. They're scavengers, building their empire on the ruins of something far greater. Before James could respond, their secure communication system activated. Commander West's hologram appeared in the center of the lab, her expression grim despite the victory. Dr. Chen, we need you on the Prometheus immediately. What we've stirred up, it's bigger than we thought. Within hours, Sarah found herself aboard a hypervelocity transport racing toward the Prometheus's new position in high Earth orbit. The battle debris had been cleared, but the tension in space remained palpable. As she stepped onto the bridge, she found Emily West in deep discussion with her senior staff. Dr. Chen, Emily greeted her. Thank you for coming. We've intercepted some interesting communications since the battle. The Zachary Empire isn't just angry, they're scared. And not just of us. Lisa Cooper, still at her science station, brought up a series of decoded transmissions. They're calling for reinforcements, but look at the language they're using. They're not just reporting a primitive species with advanced weapons. They're talking about the return of the predecessors. Sarah felt her heart skip a beat. The ship we found in the Arctic, you think it belonged to these predecessors? Not just belonged to them, Emily replied. Dr. Chen, when you designed the Prometheus's systems, you said there were components you never fully understood. Functions that seem to serve no purpose. I think it's time we found out what they do. The next 12 hours were a blur of activity. Sarah and her team worked alongside the engineering crew, diving deep into systems they had previously left dormant. What they found changed everything they thought they knew about their situation. It's not just a weapons system, Sarah announced to the assembled command staff. The entire ship, it's like a key. Those dormant systems. They're meant to interface with something much larger. A network of some kind, spread across the galaxy. Robert Hayes shook his head in amazement. You're saying the Prometheus isn't just a battleship? It's some kind of activation key? The predecessors, Lisa interjected, her eyes wide with realization. They didn't just vanish. They left everything in place, waiting for someone to rediscover it. To prove themselves worthy of their legacy. Emily stood at her usual position by the command rail, watching Earth rotate slowly beneath them. And the Zachary Empire, they've been sitting on top of this network for centuries, never realizing what they had. No wonder they're terrified. We haven't just demonstrated superior firepower. We've accidentally claimed an inheritance they never knew existed. The implications were staggering. Humanity hadn't just won a battle, they'd unknowingly stepped onto a much larger stage. The Prometheus wasn't just humanity's first starship, it was a key to unlocking the secrets of an ancient civilization that had once ruled the galaxy. But with this discovery came new dangers. The Zachary Empire would not take this threat to their dominion lightly. Already, their ships were gathering at the edges of the solar system. This time, they wouldn't underestimate Earth's capabilities. We need to understand what we've stumbled into, Emily decided. Dr. Chen, how quickly can you activate these dormant systems? Sarah consulted her data. The ship is already trying to connect to something. There are coordinates embedded in the activation protocols, coordinates to other installations left by the predecessors. Commander, Annie Parker called from her station. We're picking up unusual energy signatures from Mars. Something's awakening there, something big. On the main screen, the red planet seemed to shimmer. Points of light began to emerge from beneath its surface, forming patterns that were clearly artificial. The Prometheus's systems responded, interfaces coming alive with new information. It's a map, Sarah breathed, watching as holographic displays filled the bridge. The predecessors, they left their technology scattered across the galaxy. Hidden. Protected. Waiting for someone to prove themselves worthy of finding it. Emily's expression hardened with determination. Then let's not keep them waiting. Humanity tried to join the galactic community peacefully. The Zachary forced us to show our strength instead. Now we've inherited something they never deserved. She turned to her crew. Set course for Mars. Whatever's awakening there, we need to reach it before the Zachary realize what's happening. As the Prometheus began its burn toward Mars, none of them could have predicted the chain of events they had set in motion. The galaxy was about to change, and humanity, despite its relative youth among the stars, would be at the center of that change. The real question was, were they ready for the responsibility that came with claiming the legacy of a civilization powerful enough to shape the galaxy itself? Legacy of the predecessors. The Martian surface seemed to ripple like water as the Prometheus approached. What had once been solid rock was transforming, revealing structures that had lain dormant for millennia. The crew watched in awe as an entire city emerged from beneath the red dust, its architecture unlike anything human eyes had ever seen. Multiple energy signatures detecting, Lisa Cooper reported from her station. Whatever this installation is, it's massive. The city extends at least 10 kilometers below the surface. Commander Emily West stood transfixed by the sight. The structures weren't built in conventional shapes, they seemed to flow like liquid metal, constantly shifting and reforming while maintaining their overall integrity. The technology required for such construction was beyond anything humanity had imagined possible. Dr. Chen, Emily called to Sarah, who was busy analyzing the readings. What are we looking at? Sarah's voice trembled with excitement. It's not just a city, it's a nexus. A hub of some kind. The Prometheus's systems are interfacing with it automatically. We're receiving, my God, we're receiving data streams from similar installations across the galaxy. The bridge crew watched as holographic displays materialized around them, showing countless points of light scattered throughout the Milky Way. Each point represented another installation left by the predecessors, waiting to be awakened. Incoming transmission, Annie Parker announced suddenly. It's coming from the city. The main screen flickered to life, but instead of an alien face, they saw patterns of light that somehow conveyed meaning directly into their minds. The predecessors had left a message, and the Prometheus was translating it for them. We are the architects, the message began. If you receive this, you have proven yourselves worthy of our legacy. You have demonstrated both the technological achievement to activate our systems and the wisdom to improve upon what you found, rather than merely copying it. The architects hadn't vanished, they had ascended, moving beyond physical form to explore higher dimensions of existence. But before leaving, they had prepared for the emergence of new species who might be worthy of their knowledge. Commander, David Martinez called out urgently. Multiple Zachary warships just emerged from hyperspace. They're approaching Mars in attack formation. Emily straightened her uniform. How many? 50 ships, at least. This isn't a response fleet, this is an invasion force. The Prometheus hung in space between Mars and the approaching Zachary armada. This time, the aliens weren't taking any chances. They had brought overwhelming force to crush this upstart species that dared to claim the architect's legacy. But the Zachary hadn't counted on what was awakening beneath Mars' surface. The city began to pulse with energy. Streams of what looked like liquid light flowed through its structures, gathering at central points. The Prometheus's systems responded, new interfaces appearing on every console. Dr. Chen. Emily called out. What's happening? Sarah's fingers flew over her console as she interpreted the data. The city, it's not just a repository of knowledge. It's a defense system. The architects left safeguards to protect their legacy from those who would misuse it. As if in response to her words, beams of energy shot up from the Martian surface, forming a protective barrier around the planet. The Zachary ships opened fire, but their weapons dissipated harmlessly against the shield. More installations are activating, Lisa reported. Not just here, everywhere. All across the solar system. There's something under Venus's clouds, structures in Jupiter's atmosphere, bases throughout the asteroid belt. The solar system itself was awakening, revealing defenses and technologies that had lain dormant since before humanity's ancestors had learned to walk upright. The architects hadn't just left their legacy in one place, they had prepared an entire star system to serve as humanity's cradle among the stars. High Commander Celera, who had assumed command of the Zachary fleet after Vex's defeat, appeared on their screen. Unlike her predecessor, her 4 eyes showed not contempt but fear. "You don't understand what you're dealing with," she warned. "The architect's technology, it destroyed civilizations. Drove species mad with power. We didn't suppress primitive worlds out of cruelty. We did it to prevent another catastrophe." Emily stood firm. "You murdered our diplomats. Threatened our world. If you truly wanted to prevent catastrophe, you should have helped guide us, not tried to subjugate us." "You leave us no choice then," Celera replied. "The architect's legacy must be contained, no matter the cost." She cut the transmission. The Zachary fleet began to advance, but they weren't alone. More ships were emerging from hyperspace, vessels of different designs, representing other species and civilizations that had lived under Zachary dominion. "Multiple broadcasts coming in," Annie reported. They're asking for asylum. These aren't reinforcements for the Zachary, they're defectors. Other species who saw our battle broadcast. They want to help us." Emily felt the weight of history on her shoulders. In less than a week, humanity had gone from reaching out to the galactic community to becoming a beacon of hope for oppressed species throughout this sector of space. The architect's legacy wasn't just advanced technology, it was an opportunity to reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. "Open a channel to all ships," she ordered. "Let them know Earth welcomes all who seek freedom from tyranny." She turned to Sarah. "Dr. Chen, we need to understand these defenses fast. I have a feeling the Zachary aren't going to stop with just one fleet." Sarah nodded, her eyes still fixed on the streams of data flowing from the Martian installation. "Commander, I don't think the architects chose us randomly. Everything I'm seeing, the way their systems interface with our technology, how the Prometheus naturally integrates with their network. I think they were watching us. Testing us. The ship we found in the Arctic wasn't an accident. It was a gift." The implications of her words hung heavy in the air. Humanity's first steps into the galactic community had become a sprint, catapulting them from newcomers to inheritors of the most advanced technology known to exist. But with that inheritance came responsibilities, and enemies, they never could have imagined. As the Zachary fleet approached and Allied ships gathered around the Prometheus, Emily West knew that the real battle was just beginning. Humanity had claimed its place among the stars, but now they had to prove they deserved it. The architects had left them the tools. Now it was up to humanity to build something worthy of that legacy. Echoes of Ascension. The Martian installation's central chamber defied conventional physics. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in its heart, surrounded by flowing streams of data that seemed to exist in more dimensions than human minds could process. Behind her, Commander Emily West and a small team from the Prometheus watched as holographic displays showed the escalating situation across the solar system. "The architects didn't just leave us technology," Sarah explained, her voice filled with wonder. "They left us their understanding. Look at this." She gestured, and the flowing data streams coalesced into a complex mathematical model. "This isn't just advanced science, it's a new way of thinking about reality itself." The chamber responded to her thoughts, expanding the model to show connections that stretched beyond normal spacetime. The architect's ascension hadn't been a departure, it had been an evolution, a transformation into something beyond physical existence. "Incoming priority transmission," Annie Parker's voice came through their communicators. The refugee ships are reporting massive Zachary fleet movements. They're mobilizing everything they have. Emily's expression hardened. How many? Thousands of ships. The Zachary aren't just sending a fleet, they're committing their entire empire to this fight. The news should have been terrifying, but Sarah noticed something odd in the data streams around them. The chamber's responses to the report seemed anticipated. As if this scenario had been predicted long ago. "Commander," she called out, "I don't think we're seeing the whole picture." The architects, they knew this would happen. All of it. The Zachary's response, the refugees seeking our help, even our specific decisions. This isn't just a legacy we stumbled upon. It's a carefully orchestrated awakening. Before Emily could respond, the chamber's atmosphere changed. The flowing data streams parted, revealing a new presence. Unlike the previous messages, this wasn't just a translation, it was a direct communication from what appeared to be one of the architects themselves. The being existed as a pattern of light and energy, its form constantly shifting between states that human eyes struggled to comprehend. When it spoke, its words bypassed normal sensory channels, appearing directly in their minds. The time of transition approaches, it communicated. As we ascended, so too must others follow. But the path must be chosen, not forced. The Zachary's fear stems from their encounter with our technology centuries ago, an encounter they were not ready for. Images flashed through their minds, an ancient Zachary civilization discovering one of the architect's installations, attempting to use technology they couldn't comprehend. The resulting catastrophe had nearly destroyed their species, driving them to suppress technological advancement in other civilizations out of genuine, if misguided, fear. They're not just coming to stop us, Emily realized. They're trying to prevent what they see as the apocalypse. Yes, the architect confirmed. But their fear blinds them to the truth. The catastrophe they experienced was not our intention, it was the result of their own unrestrained ambition. You humans have demonstrated something different. You found our gift and spent decades studying it, improving it, understanding it before using it. This is why you were chosen. Sarah's mind raced with implications. The ship in the Arctic, you deliberately placed it there. You've been guiding our development. Observing. Suggesting. Never controlling. Your choices remained your own. Now you face the same choice we once faced, how to shepherd life toward its next evolution without destroying those who are not ready. The chamber's displays shifted, showing the approaching Zachary armada. Their numbers were staggering, nearly every combat-capable ship in their empire was converging on the solar system. But there was something else, something hidden in the data streams that Sarah nearly missed. "Commander," she called out urgently. The architect installations, they're not just defensive systems. They're transformation engines. The same technology the architects used to ascend, we can use it to end this conflict without destruction. Emily studied the displays, her tactical mind quickly grasping the possibility. "You're saying we can force the Zachary to evolve? Transform them like the architects transformed themselves?" No, the architect's presence pulsed with something like disappointment. That is the path the Zachary feared, forced evolution leading to catastrophe. The technology cannot be used to compel advancement. It can only offer the choice. Understanding dawned on Sarah's face. That's why you chose us. Not because we were the most advanced or the most powerful. But because when we found your technology, we chose to understand it before using it. You want us to do the same for others. The architect's form shifted in what might have been approval. The galaxy stands at a crossroads. Many species are ready to take the next step in evolution, but they must choose it freely. The Zachary's fear would deny that choice to all. You must show them another way. How? Emily asked. They're coming to destroy us, not talk to us. You have already begun to show them. Look at the refugees who flock to your banner. They see in humanity not just power, but possibility. The Zachary Empire maintained order through restriction. "You can show the galaxy a path forward through understand the implications" hit Emily like a thunderbolt. They didn't need to fight the Zachary fleet head-on. They needed to show everyone, what humanity had already demonstrated, that advancement didn't have to lead to catastrophe if it was approached with wisdom and understanding. But first, they had to survive the coming battle. The Zachary fleet would arrive within hours, and they wouldn't stop to listen to philosophical arguments about evolution and choice. "Dr. Chen," Emily turned to Sarah, "how quickly can we understand these new systems? We need to find a way to make the Zachary stop and think instead of just attacking." Sarah's hands moved through the data streams, her mind connecting patterns that would have seemed impossible to comprehend just days ago. The architect's technology, it doesn't just manipulate energy and matter. It manipulates possibility itself. If we can understand it in time, Prometheus's systems that they hadn't even known existed. The ship wasn't just a key to the architect's network, it was a prototype for something greater. "It's a bridge," Sarah whispered in awe. "The Prometheus isn't just a battleship or a key. It's a bridge between current technology and what we could become. That's why our improvements worked so well, we were already starting to think like the architects without realizing it." The chamber's lighting shifted as new alerts came in. The Zachary fleet had crossed Neptune's orbit. Soon they would be in range of the outer defense installations. The next few hours would determine not just the fate of humanity, but the course of galactic evolution itself. The architect's presence began to fade. "Remember, the power to reshape reality means nothing without the wisdom to reshape it well. This is your moment of choice, just as we once faced ours. Show them the path forward." As the being vanished, Emily and Sarah shared a look of determination. They had hours to master technology it had taken the architects millennia to develop. But humanity had already proven itself capable of exceeding expectations. The real question was, could they find a way to make the Zachary see reason before their fear destroyed everything? The choice of tomorrow. The solar system blazed with energy as the Zachary armada approached. Thousands of warships darkened the space between Neptune and Mars, their weapons primed for what they believed would be the battle to save the galaxy from itself. But aboard the Prometheus, Commander Emily West and Dr. Sarah Chen were preparing something the Zachary could never have expected. "The transformation matrix is ready," Sarah announced, her fingers dancing through holographic controls that extended from the Martian installation's central chamber to the Prometheus's bridge. "But this is beyond anything we've attempted. We're not just modifying matter or energy, we're about to manipulate the fundamental nature of spacetime itself." Emily stood at her command station, watching as the massive Zachary fleet drew closer. The refugee ships that had sought asylum with Earth had been positioned safely behind Mars, protected by the architect's defense systems. But what they were about to attempt would affect everyone in the solar system, friend and foe alike. "All stations report ready," David Martinez announced from Tactical. "The architect installations throughout the system are synchronized with our signal." The plan they had devised was audacious. Using the architect's technology, they would create a localized bubble of altered spacetime, a region where the barriers between normal space and higher dimensions would become thin enough for everyone to glimpse what the architects had discovered. Not forcing ascension, but offering a window into what was possible. "Incoming transmission from the Zachary flagship," Annie Parker reported. "High Commander Celera is demanding our immediate surrender." Emily took a deep breath. "Put her on screen." The Zachary leader's 4 eyes blazed with determination. "This is your final warning, humans. Deactivate the architect installations and surrender your world for quarantine, or we will be forced to sterilize this entire system." "High Commander," Emily replied calmly, "I ask you to wait. To observe. What you're about to see will change everything you think you know about the architect's legacy." "We know enough." Celera snapped. "We saw what their technology did to our ancestors. The madness, the destruction. You saw what happened when your ancestors tried to seize power they didn't understand, Emily interrupted. We're offering something different. A chance to understand. To choose. Before Celera could respond, Sarah activated the transformation matrix. The space around the Prometheus began to shimmer as reality itself responded to the combined power of every architect installation in the solar system, all channeled through the ship's enhanced systems. Energy bubble expanding, Lisa Cooper reported from her science station. Quantum field integrity at maximum. We're creating a window between dimensions. The effect was beautiful and terrifying. The space between the opposing fleets began to crystallize, forming patterns that existed in more dimensions than the human eye could process. But the architect's technology didn't just show these higher dimensions, it made them comprehensible to minds that had evolved in three-dimensional space. Through this window between realities, everyone in the solar system could see what the architects had discovered, the true nature of consciousness, the interconnected web of existence that bound all living things together, and the potential that lay dormant in every sentient being. By all that's sacred, Celera whispered, her voice filled with awe rather than anger. The Zachary fleet hung motionless in space as their crews experienced the same revelation. This wasn't the chaotic power that had driven their ancestors mad. This was understanding, offered freely and safely through technology that had been refined and improved by human innovation. This is what the architects were trying to show us, Emily broadcast to all ships. Not power to be seized, but understanding to be earned. They chose humanity not because we were special, but because we were willing to learn before we tried to act. Through the dimensional window, patterns of light began to coalesce, the architects themselves, making themselves visible to all. But they weren't the godlike beings many had imagined. They appeared as explorers, scientists, seekers of knowledge who had simply been the first to discover the next step in evolution. The time of isolation is ending, they communicated to everyone present. The barriers between species, between dimensions, between different forms of existence, all can be bridged through understanding. This is the legacy we left, not power, but the wisdom to use it well. Sarah watched as the data streams showed the reactions rippling through both fleets. The Zachary crews were experiencing the same epiphany that humanity had reached, advancement didn't have to lead to destruction. Evolution didn't have to mean leaving others behind. High Commander Celera, Emily called out, you sought to protect the galaxy by restricting access to knowledge. We offer a different path, guided advancement, shared understanding, and the freedom to choose when and how to take the next step. On the screen, Celera's expression had transformed from hostility to something like hope. All these centuries, she said quietly, we thought we were preventing catastrophe. But we were really just postponing the moment of choice. The dimensional window began to stabilize, its existence maintained by the combined power of the architect installations and the Prometheus's enhanced systems. It would remain as a testament and a tool, a way for species to glimpse their potential future without being forced to embrace it before they were ready. Stand down your weapons, Celera commanded her fleet. The humans, they've shown us what our ancestors couldn't understand. The architect's legacy isn't a weapon to be feared. It's a choice to be offered. As the Zachary fleet powered down their weapons, Emily turned to her crew. Send word to Earth. Tell them the war is over before it truly began. And something much more interesting is about to begin. The refugee ships began to emerge from behind Mars, their crews already adapting to the new reality that had been revealed. The architect's technology had shown them all a glimpse of what was possible, but it had done something even more important, it had shown them that they could face that future together. What happens now? Sarah asked, watching as Zachary's ships began to mingle with the refugee fleet, old enemies coming together in the face of new understanding. Emily smiled. Now we do what humanity does best, we explore, we learn, and we grow. The architects showed us the path, but how we walk it, that's up to us. The dimensional window continued to shimmer between the fleets, a reminder of the barrier humanity had crossed. They had inherited the legacy of one of the most advanced civilizations in history, but their greatest achievement hadn't been mastering the technology, it had been showing others how to face advancement without fear. As the Earth received word of what had happened, as ships from other species began arriving to witness what had occurred, as the Zachary Empire began its transformation from oppressor to partner, everyone involved knew that this was more than just first contact or even the end of a potential war. This was the moment when the galaxy itself had begun to change, guided not by force but by understanding. The architects had ascended, leaving behind the tools for others to follow. Humanity had proven worthy of that legacy not through power, but through wisdom. And now, together with allies old and new, they would begin the greatest adventure in history, the guided evolution of all sentient life toward a future limited only by their ability to comprehend it. Commander Emily West stood on the bridge of the Prometheus, Earth shining behind her and the combined fleets ahead, and knew that their real work was just beginning. They had inherited the stars themselves, and with that inheritance came the responsibility to light the way forward for all who wished to follow. The future was no longer a distant dream. It was a choice, waiting to be made by any who were ready to understand it.